I think you're amazing.
You are too, Henry.
Thank you so much. Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you. Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection. God bless you. I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank
God bless you
Thank you.
too. Thank you for having us.
Welcome to the Brother Henry and You Show. I am your host, Henry Harris. Thank you so much for watching the show today. We have an amazing program for you today. And today I want to just come and just talk to you about the church unhealthy obsession with sex. Yeah. You may be thinking right now, like, why would the church have an unhealthy obsession with sex? Well, it's because they do. Or some of them do anyway. I'm not saying the church as a whole, so I'm not making a general statement. But there are a lot of ministries and churches out there that's quite worried about what people do in their bedroom, or who a person may choose to love, or who a person choose to marry. I quite frankly don't sit up at night worrying about who's doing what with who, or who's dating who. You know why? Because it's none of my business. Whether you're a Muslim or a Christian or an atheist, Hindu, whatever you are, or whatever religion you are, you shouldn't be obsessed and worried about what people do. And the reason why I know why a lot of people in the church is obsessed with it, because I saw it growing up. And not only that, they are obsessed because they have been, how can I word it, unsuccessful in controlling people. They have. So here's the thing. Have you ever asked or wondered why many church-going Christians are obsessed with what people do in the bedroom? They are obsessed. And people say, well, how can you say it, Brother Henry? Listen to some of the sermons. It's always about what you can and cannot do. We throw words out there like fornication and this and that just to manipulate and control people. And the fact is that you can preach until your eyes pop out of your head. People are still going to have sex. People are still going to do their own thing. Now, I would encourage you not to be reckless, but at least I'm not here trying to control you. And it's actually humanly impossible to control what someone does in the bedroom. And then once again, it's not your business. It's not my business. It's sad I even have to talk about this, but I know a lot of you that are watching me right now, you can relate to what I'm saying. Many of you have pastors, that's all they talk about. No sex before marriage. No sex this. If you're doing this, it's a sin. If you do that, it's a sin. No sex. It's like, why are you so obsessed with sex? Are you doing it? What are you doing? You have to watch the people who speaks the loudest against stuff, because sometimes that could be a reflection of something that they're struggling with, or a reflection of something that they're struggling with. You are obsessed and you just don't know it. So the very thought makes them furious. Anger becomes the response that indicates that they can't influence or control what other people do in their sex life. Read the comments on Facebook. People get angry. They get angry. If you say you're being intimate with someone, having sex with someone outside of what they call biblical marriage, oh, that's wrong. They'll post all these scripts. Well, everybody is not a Christian. Me personally, that's not my business either. I feel like everybody has the right to live their life. You only got one life to live. Live your life in the way you want to live it. Love who you want to love. Be with who you want to be with. Sleep with who you want to sleep with. That's your decision. You are an adult. I can't control that. I'm not trying to control that. But many churches, they have a strong influence over people in this area because they try to control people in this area. Once again, I'm not saying go out there, sleep, do whatever you want. There are consequences. You do that, you may get an STD or something. So I'm not encouraging you to do that, but at the same time, I think we should use caution and we should be selective and mindful of these things. Many churches have their own convictions that sex should only be reserved for marriage. I personally am not opposed to that idea, but that is your convictions, not everyone else's convictions. And if it becomes a problem when you try to force those convictions on others. All of us have what we call religious convictions, whether you agree with it or not. There's somebody that's watching me right now. You're like, well, I believe sex is reserved for marriage. And there's somebody else that's out there that's like, well, I believe the opposite. It doesn't mean one is right or wrong, but in the eyes of some Christians, you are wrong. Because this is what the Bible says about it. Well, those are your convictions. And when you try to force your way of being and believing on me, I don't have to believe the way you do. I didn't start losing friends and stuff until I started being vocal about what I didn't believe in anymore in regards to Christianity or the many things associated with it. But when I started to talk about things I did believe in, the similarities, everybody wanted to be Brother Henry's friend. Now, I'm not validated by that. We have thousands of people that watch our show. I have several friends, especially in my inner circle. So I'm not validated by that, but at the same time, I'm only here just to share my heart. I'll never tell you, you got to believe the way I do. No, you don't. You are at liberty to believe whatever you want. So don't try to put that on me. Don't try to put that on other people. You are even at liberty to share whatever your convictions are. Whether it's on a video, whether it's on a show, whether it's on Facebook, or interview, or whether you're up speaking, those are your convictions. You can sit there and say, well, it ain't my convictions, it ain't my opinion, it's what the Bible says. It's still your convictions. Why? Because that's what you believe. That's what you believe. And it does become a problem when you try to force that on other people. And may I add, the fact that you feel like you have to force it on people is even more of a reason for them to reject it. So this shouldn't be a concern to you, and quite frankly, you can post scriptures till you are blue. It's no one's business what people do in their sex life. And in fact, you have no say in it. Did you know that? You have no say in it what people do in their sex life. Now listen to this. Oftentimes the Christian just may be angry because they themselves are not experiencing the bliss of sex. So as a response to try to control, they try to control the urges and suppress others. I don't really like using this word sin, but it's not a sin to have sexual urges or to be horny. That's another word that people use. It's not lustful. It's part of your human nature. It's part of who you are. Oh, I'm dying to myself. I'm dying to the flesh. You can keep doing that, but you're still going to be feeling yourself at times. You're still going to have sexual feelings at times. That's part of who you are. You can't crucify that. You can't throw that away. Oh, I got to suppress it. You know what I've learned about that? The more you suppress it, the worse you get. However, while those feelings are normal and natural, it's how you respond to those feelings. It's how you respond to those urges. That's where wisdom comes into play. Just because you may be feeling sexual urges doesn't mean you need to sleep with every Tom, Dick, and Harry out there. Some people do that. That's not my business either. It does become my business when we use sex in a way to manipulate, to harm, or to hurt people. So, no one needs your permission. However, we must be responsible. We should never, and I see this happen a lot too in the church, we should never shame someone who chooses to have sex before marriage. Never. That's if they even get married at all. And I don't believe it's a necessity. If marriage is for you, go right ahead. But if someone chooses to have sex outside of marriage, I feel like that's their business. Sex will be sex. It's not any different or any magical once you sign that marriage certificate. And I don't know why people do it. These days, I feel like people only get married, especially in the religious community, we pressure that on people. I feel like a lot of people only get married for sexual reasons, for sexual gratification. If that's the only reason why you're getting married, please don't do it. Please don't do it. Go lock yourself in a dark room and take care of your business. I'm just being serious. Why would you deal with a headache of a marriage, getting married for that reason? It's not right. You would think like you would get married because you love that person, you care about that person, you want to grow with that person. Y'all have chemistry and matching energies and things like that. You're not simply married for sex, but the church has made people feel like crap for so many years, forcing people to rush into these premature marriages, not ready for marriage. And we rush into it because we've been taught that if you don't marry and you're having sex, that somehow God's going to be disappointed in you. I'm here to tell you that He's not. He's not disappointed in you. But here's the bomb. Most Christians who are against it are doing it. They are. Those are the ones that you got to watch out for. The ones who say, stop doing it, stop seeing it, stop having sex, stop going to parties. They're out there doing it. Well, Henry, how you know? Because I've witnessed it and I've seen it. And I'll be honest, I've done it myself. I stood in the pulpit years ago. Don't be having sex outside of marriage. And guess what I was doing? The same thing. I'm just being honest. I'm not going to lie to you. Now, that happened a short period of time, but still, I was being hypocritical. I was using the Bible to manipulate the people. Didn't realize that I was actually preaching to myself. Yep, preaching to myself. It feels good to be a truth teller. And I think that's why you watch the show, because I'm not going to cut no corners. I'm not going to lie about my past. It is what it is. I don't do that anymore. But I'm not ashamed to talk about my past. The past is the past. We grow, we learn, we evolve. So always watch the ones who screams the loudest. They are secretly doing sexual things and activities to cover up their own shame, to try to make you feel guilty. They do that all the time. They feel like they're doing God a service by doing that. So sex is a gift between two people who are in love. I don't feel like you have to be married. You don't need anyone's approval to be yourself. But be moral. Be responsible. And if you've been told it's wrong, they are entitled to their beliefs. Let them believe it. But when they start to become forceful with their presentation, you have a right to reject it. Just like they have the right to say what they want to say, you have a right to reject it. It's time to stop worrying about what you cannot control. You can't control it. And as angry and furious as you are about this, some of you are angry at me right now. To know people are still having sex without your permission, I want you to know, take a deep breath. You will be fine. People will not stop having sex anytime soon. This is why we have a lot of premature marriages. As I said earlier, we're having children prematurely because we rush into things. And we should never rush into marriage all because you're having sexual feelings. And many people solely marry for that purpose. Church, why are you so worried about what people are doing in their own bedrooms? If you do have that mentality, you are a part of the problem. And you need to find out why you're so obsessed with what people do in the bedroom. Or perhaps you may just need to get laid yourself. God bless you. Thank you for watching the Brother Henry and You Show. Connect with us on Facebook.com/Henry Harris 100. Also connect with us on Soul TV /Facebook.com or YouTube.com /Henry Harris 100. We'll see you next week.
Well, Perry, you are awesome.
Thank you, brother. Thank you, and I appreciate you what you're doing too, buddy.
Well, thank you.
Because if you allow the world to define you, if you allow friends to define you, if you allow your spouse to define you, or anybody to define you outside of how God sees you, that does open the door to rejection.
God bless you. And I hope y'all have an amazing day.
Thank you, Brother Henry.
Thank you.
God bless you too. Thank you for having us.